Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to my latest video about Gilbert Melendez. And basically, I had this video already completed, and I was going to drop it Thursday until this huge story came out tonight, basically that Dana White and Gilbert Melendez's manager cannot agree on a contract. And basically, Dana White said that he's done with the negotiations. Basically, he's had enough. Gilbert Melendez should start, fielding offers from basically other organizations, and that he better talk to Lorenzo if he wants to stay in the UFC. And this to me is completely dumbfounding because Gilbert Melendez just came off a Fight of the Year performance against Diego Sanchez. And basically, even Dana White said in the 13 years he's been there that this is one of the best fights he ever saw between Gilbert Melendez and Diego Sanchez. And Gilbert Melendez is also ranked number 2 in the UFC lightweight rankings. So I just don't understand why he can't agree to a contract with this guy. I mean, you can't lose this guy. You're always complaining about, some of the cards are boring. You're throwing fighters on the bus, for example, Rory McDonald, saying basically he didn't go for the kill against Jake Ellenberger. Well, you have a guy here who's never in boring fights. That's what the UFC fans want. And you're going to let this guy slip away to Bellator or a different organization? It's just crazy to me. I mean, everybody wants to see matchups between Gilbert Melendez, Anthony Pettis, Gilbert Melendez and TJ Grant, Josh Thompson for the Ben Henderson rematch. I mean, I just shake my head at this dude. Like, I don't understand what you're doing. You're screwing over the UFC fans, and I can tell you that a lot of fans aren't happy, judging on the reaction on Twitter. And rightfully so. I mean, basically, Dana White, to put it to you in the nicest context, we don't want to see your wrestling guys lying on top of each other doing nothing. We want to see guys come out and put on the line. That's why I watch fighters like Gilbert Melendez, Nate Diaz, and Nick Diaz. That's what we want to see as fans. So make it happen, and don't disrespect a great fighter like Gilbert Melendez. Get this guy signed. If anybody deserves it, this guy. I mean, he's had a long road to get here. And, me, whatever happens with Gilbert, I'm supporting 100%. Been a long-time fan, so I'm following him wherever. That's my dude. Him and Nate Diaz, my favorite lightweights of all time. And basically, I'm going to tell you guys why I'm advocating so hard for Gilbert Melendez to stay in the UFC. Basically, if you go back to his Strikeforce days, this guy has some very impressive wins. He has a 22-3 record, and he's avenged 2 of his losses. The 3 losses he had were one against Ben Henderson in a very controversial fight, which I'm going to brush on later. Josh Thompson, which he avenged that loss. And Ishida, which he also avenged that loss. And 22-3 is a very impressive record, especially in MMA, where the best fight the best. And basically some notable wins in Strikeforce Gilbert Melendez had was number 5 ranked Shinya Aoki at the time was a Dream lightweight champion. And Gilbert Melendez had a great performance against him and beat him. Basically, and Gilbert Melendez also beat Kawajiri as well, who at the time was a Shudo champion at lightweight and was ranked top 10 in the world by most MMA sites. He also defeated Clay Guida for the Strikeforce championship. Clay Guida was in the top 10 UFC rankings at one time for lightweights. And basically, he also won the WEC championship as well, Gilbert Melendez did. And Gilbert's just beaten a lot of great fighters. He beat Josh Thompson twice in their great trilogy. And Josh Thompson, as you know, is very high in the UFC lightweight rankings. Also, Gilbert beat Rodrigo Dam, Jorge Masvidal, a guy with over 30 fights. And basically in his, when he got over to the UFC, he came in against Ben Henderson. Nobody gave Gilbert a chance in this fight, not many fans. And Gilbert basically just took it to this guy, was catching his kicks, being aggressive the whole fight. And I definitely thought Gilbert Melendez was taking home the belt at the end of the night. And basically he didn't, but just a great performance and really opened UFC fans' eyes on what a great fighter this guy is. And the reason why he's ranked probably number 3 by most MMA sites for a very long time. And then basically his next fight, he had a classic against Diego Sanchez. In my opinion, top 3 MMA fight that I've ever seen of all time. I just can't say enough good things about this guy's fights. Just amazing. When I watch his fights, I always see him throwing vicious right hands, has a good ground game, great submission defense, great level changes, good head movement. He has a great chin as well. Doesn't mind taking a few punches to get in there and land a solid one himself. I mean, just an overall well-rounded fighter. I mean, that's what you want in the sport. And that's why he can be in so many great fights, because he can do so many great things. And basically, it's a must that the UFC sign him. So UFC fans, let Dana White know. You know, social media is a great tool for that. So let him know, guys, that we want Gilbert Melendez in the UFC. And basically, changing gears now, if you're in San Francisco area, visit the El Nino Training Center. World-class facility. I got to see it firsthand myself. I came down from Canada, and a lot of great young fighters there. Gilbert Melendez basically echoed that statement when I was there talking to him. And if you're in the Bay Area, that's the #1 gym to train at if you're doing MMA. And I can't say enough good things about Gilbert Melendez. Just a class act all the way. Signed a bunch of stuff for me, chatted with me for 10, 15 minutes. Real good dude. I met a lot of MMA fighters. I can honestly say, nicest guy I've met yet in the MMA world. And only deserves the best in the future, and has worked for everything he's got. So show some support to Gilbert Melendez. And let me know what you guys think of this whole situation going on. And thank you very much, guys, for checking out my video. And let's hope soon we'll be talking about Gilbert Melendez staying in the UFC or in Bellator or whatever. Anything Gilbert Melendez related is positive. This is a man, you know, one of the best lightweights in the world, so check him out.